Join us on a whirlwind journey through the heart of Vienna as we explore iconic landmarks like the famous Naschmarkt, the majestic Schönbrunn Palace, and the awe-inspiring St. Stephen's Cathedral. Make sure you stay to the end as we embark on an overnight train to Venice, sleeping in some pretty tight quarters. One day in Vienna starts now. Good morning from Vienna. After 3 flights over 17 hours, we finally made it here yesterday around 3 o'clock p.m. We went out and did a little bit of exploring, but from the jet lag, we ended up turning in pretty early last night. We stayed at one of the space capsule hostels here in Vienna. And the city center location is only about 200 meters from the nearest metro station and only a few minutes walk from the Danube Canal. We booked a double bed capsule to share, and it was actually surprisingly spacious. We also each had a large locker for our bags. The lockable capsule does give you some privacy in the shared dorm, and they're also equipped with features like a safe, ventilation, and a TV. We're now just heading out to grab some breakfast before we get started on the day. So we just had breakfast at a place called the Breakfast Club. It had a very retro feel and a lot of selection on the menu. We each had a cappuccino, mine with oat milk and Dave's with regular, and they were both delicious. Dave had an omelet that came with a bread basket, and I had French toast with bacon. The total came to just over 26 euros or $40 Canadian. So just a couple minutes walk from where we had breakfast, we've now arrived at the Naschmarkt. This market is the most popular open-air market here in Vienna and dates back to the 16th century when it was used primarily for selling milk. The market has 2 main alleyways. One is dedicated mostly to restaurants and the other one to food stores and stalls. Only a 10 minutes walk from the market is the St. Charles Church. This is a Baroque style church that was built between 1716 and 1737. Its impressive dome and columns make it one of Vienna's most striking landmarks. The 2 columns at either side of the front entrance are inspired by ancient Roman architecture and are fully decorated with reliefs. So now that we're finished at St. Charles Church, we're going to go hop on the metro and head to Schönbrunn Palace. So we just got off at the Schönbrunn metro stop, and now we are walking about 5 minutes to get to the palace. Schönbrunn Palace was built in the 17th century and served as the imperial summer residence for the Habsburg monarchs. In 1996, the palace was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's a pretty impressive palace containing over 1,400 rooms, several large gardens, and a parade court, which is the big open space in front of the palace's main entrance. You can pay to take a tour inside the palace. We've pretty much decided to forego taking any tours today just because of how limited we are on time. But even just coming to take a look at the outside of the palace itself, I think is definitely worth it. Even if you want to go inside and tour the gardens, it's still €5 per person per garden, and there's 2 main gardens. So for €10 per person to walk around the garden, we just personally didn't feel like that was worth it for us today. But again, even just coming here and climbing up the front steps and just looking out over the front of the palace, it's pretty nice. With how great the metro is here, it didn't take very long at all to actually get to the Schönbrunn Palace. So even if you are just going to look at the outside and kind of wander around free areas, which is again basically the front, I definitely think it's worth it. If you did want to go and tour one of the gardens, it is only €5. So if that's something that's worth it to you, definitely do it. So now we're heading to the metro again to head back to the downtown area to go and see a bunch of other sites. The great thing about the metro here is that you can buy 24, 48, and 72-hour passes. We paid €8 per person for the 24-hour ticket, and with how often we're using the metro, I think it's completely worth doing that as opposed to paying every single time you get on, which I believe is around €2 per trip. It's been really, really easy to use, and the trains seem to come every 3 to 4 minutes. So it's super convenient and it's super fast. The Hofburg Palace was built in the 13th century and served as the Imperial Palace for over 600 years. And just as the Schönbrunn Palace served as the summer residence, this Hofburg also served as the winter residence. Since 1946, it serves as the official residence and workplace of the President of Austria. It also now contains a bunch of museums and is home to the Spanish riding school, where they have those famous horses that I do not know the names of, but I'll put it up on screen. You can actually see the next place we're going to be going to from in front of the Hofburg, which is the St. Stephen's Cathedral. This church is called St. Stephen's Cathedral. It's a Gothic style church, and it was built in the 12th century. It's absolutely massive.
Huge.
There's so much intricate detail on basically every part of this church. And then the roof too. It almost just looks like tile work. St. Stephen's Cathedral is the most important religious building in Vienna. The original church was built in the 12th century, but it's undergone a number of renovations and modifications over the years since. The best parts, in our opinion, are the north and south towers. So if you want to climb the south tower, it's €550 per person. Alright, so Dave has decided against climbing the tower. The line to go up the elevator on the north tower was incredibly long. So I decided I'm just going to climb the south tower. The south tower is the taller of the two, standing at 137 meters tall, and you can climb halfway up to about 67 meters. This means climbing at 343 stairs up a narrow and winding staircase. Oh my god, we've made it. The tough climb up is well worth it, as the views from the South Tower are arguably the best in the city. You also get a closer look at the tiled roof from above, and it was cool to see just how large these tiles really are. Funny. As I'm coming down now, I can laugh because I'm not out of breath, but everyone climbing up is breathing like they've just run a marathon. So I don't feel as bad for nearly dying on the way up. We still had some time to kill before our train, so we head over to Prater Park. We stumbled upon Oktoberfest, and after checking out some of the vendors and tents, we found a great spot to grab some dinner, because we were not leaving Vienna without eating some classic Wiener Schnitzel. So we've just left our hostel and we're on our way to the main train station, where we'll be catching our night jet train to Venice tonight. Right now we're going to go and find the lockers so we can leave our big bags, because we still have a few hours until we need to catch our train. We took the escalator downstairs to level -1, and there's a bunch of lockers out in the hallway, but there is also a whole room dedicated just to these luggage lockers. Alright, so the lockers are all unlocked when you get to them, so you just pick whichever locker you want. You put all of your stuff in first, and then you close it, and then it will pop up on the screen here, and then you pay for it, and then it will lock it. So the size locker that we chose, that you can see highlighted red, costs €350. And this is technically for 24 hours. We only need it for maybe 2 or 3. Few important things to remember when using one of these luggage lockers is, first of all, they only take coins. So whether you have bills or you want to pay with a card, you can't. And there's not a lot of places that will make change in the train station. That's something that people have complained about a lot online, so make sure you have change with you. Another complaint that you can't really do much about is whether or not the units are all full or if they're out of service. And one very important thing to remember as well is that they're a one-time use locker. So once you've paid for it, it's closed. You can't open it again and then like re-close it and use it again without having to pay. So basically, once you put your stuff in and you've paid for it, do not plan on getting your stuff back out again until you're done and you actually need your bags. Otherwise, you're gonna have to pay to close it again. There are also public restrooms if you need them, and they're actually pretty clean. And it was 50 cents each person to use it. Based on the information on the board at the platform, it looks like our train is going to be about 8 minutes late. I think it's supposed to come at 9:35 now instead of 9:27. Not a big deal. Sixpence has a pretty soft pillow. It's got a sheet to put down to cover up the seat, and then it's got a nice fleecy, fluffy blanket. Hopefully that's pretty cozy. Join us in the next video where we'll be exploring the floating city of Venice.